Want to know what happened in Gold Rush Season 14, Episode 2? Did they hit it big or did they run into trouble? Come with us for an exciting review. The group did a great job, and guess what? They first found gold. Not only that, but Parker Schnabel also bought something big. In this show that you won't want to miss, there will be fun, games, and lots of gold. The second episode of Season 14 of Gold Rush is all about Parker Schnabel and his new mining business at Dominion Creek in the Yukon. At the start of the show, Garth tells Parker that they should move to a new place. Parker bought a piece of land that is historically rich in gold and is determined to make it work. It is a huge job for Parker and his team to move 10 years' worth of mining activities in record time. They put $15 million into the land and are excited about the idea of being able to run their business however they want. There is, however, a feeling of unease and worry because everything is going so quickly. There are about 80,000 ounces of gold worth $160 million at Dominion Creek, which means the payout could be huge. Parker knows, though, that getting the gold out won't be easy. Dominion Creek has a history of being hard for miners, and many have failed because they were in a hurry to get gold. The costs can go up very quickly, which is a big financial risk. Parker will have to dig 40 feet deep to get to the gold, which will cost more money than the initial $15 million. Parker is set on breaking the code at Dominion Creek and getting a big payday, even though it could cost him a lot of money. He also has the chance to mine unexplored land on Australia Creek, which could bring even more riches. Parker agrees that there needs to be a good plan to deal with the problems that lie ahead. He talks about how important it is to keep all of their projects in balance, and how important it is to have both financial and physical protection. They need to quickly figure out the best way to do things and make sure they don't make the same mistakes as the previous miners. Parker's crew starts to make Dean's old cut at Dominion Creek longer. In about a week, they hope to have dug a 4.5-acre piece 40 feet deep all the way down to frozen pay gravel. As they look at how deep the ground they need to move is, the size of the job becomes clear. Before any gold can be taken out, a lot of money will have to be spent on this huge project. Parker is still optimistic about the new site, even though there are some problems. He thinks it will provide stability and a chance to make big gains. He does, however, agree that he needs to stay focused and work hard to reach the goal. Tony has spent more than $1,000 clearing overburden at Paradise Hill, but he is still not finding any gold there. He does, however, get a partial license to a gold mine in the Indian River, which gives him a new chance, and Tony can go back to his Indian River rights with his new water license, but he would have to move his whole business. Now he has to choose whether to stay at Paradise Hill or turn around and go to the Indian River. Tony and his team decide to fly in a chopper over the Indian River to get a better idea of what they are all about. The Indian River claim is 40 miles south of Paradise Hill, and has more than 8 miles of gold-rich ground that has already been stripped. Tony brought back to life an old dredge 8 years ago to mine this valuable area. He really likes dredges because they are good at getting gold out of the ground. Tony added a shaker deck, a second wash plant, to his business so he could make even more money from the gold-rich land. Even though there were problems and failures, Tony's business made a huge $10 million in gold in just 2 seasons. He finally has the chance to go back to the Indian River and maybe find even more gold. Tony and his team check out the tools and infrastructure at the Indian River claim when they get there. These people find places that need fixing, like fixing leaks and clearing out clogged shots. Tony still thinks that gold is there and that if they work hard enough, it will pay off, even though there is a lot of work to be done. Back at Paradise Hill, on the other hand, people are getting ready for the next mining season. The team is having trouble because of the thick black mud that formed from the snow and ice this winter. Because it takes so long to dry, this mud makes working on the hill hard and takes a lot of time. The team is working hard to get rid of the black mud and get the spot ready for mining as the temperature rises. They run into problems like nightmares and dangerous situations because of the mud. Even with these problems, they are still motivated to get the gold out of the pay dirt. Mike has been told to shovel out some stuff from a certain spot. The weight of the load will depend on how much he gets. They decide to put the stuff in the truck and move on after looking at it. At the same time, Tony is excited about the chance of hitting a pay streak on the White Channel. If it works, it might change his mind about moving activities to the hill. Tony and Monica say hello to each other and then part ways. Back at the mine, it is said that Dudley was paid for and that someone was making sure there was hot water. It looks like someone is having trouble remembering how to use something, though. The team is excited about the wonderful things they might find in the things they have gathered. They think it could pay for all of their bills, and maybe even a trip to Europe. They say they are happy with the results and talk about their plans. Rick Ness is later seen working on his own gold mine business. He set his sights on finding 20 ounces of gold, worth $2 million, in just 1 week. Rick asks a friend who has worked in the oil areas of Alaska for help with the work that needs to be done. Morgan, the friend, joins Rick's team and talks about how excited and worried she is about taking on so much responsibility. Morgan knows how to use big machinery and went gold panning with her family as a child. She wants to learn and do enough that she might be able to start her own gold claim someday. Morgan follows Rick's directions on how to use the equipment, and she makes some changes to get better at it. Rick and the team think she will do well loading the plant, even though she had some trouble at first. But Rick's main water pump, which brings water to the wash plant, has stopped working. This is a big problem because they can't wash the pay dirt and get the gold out of it without water. Rick and his team are upset about what's going on. As they try to fix the pump, they look for any clogs or other problems, but they can't figure out a way to fix it. Rick knows that their business can't go on without a working water pump, and they won't be able to reach their goal of 20 ounces of gold by the end of the week. It is decided that a smaller pump will be brought in to force water into the system and hopefully clear out any clogs. They think that the extra pressure will free up any airlocks so that the water can flow to the wash plant. They set up the second pump and began forcing water into the system. They were able to fix the pump and get the water running again after some time. It was pretty simple to fix, which makes Rick happy because it means they can keep working. They can wash the pay dirt again and possibly find gold now that the water is moving. Rick is still positive about the season, even though the pump problem was a setback. His team, especially Morgan, worked very hard and dedicatedly, which pleased him. Morgan was very important in figuring out what was wrong with the pump. Rick thinks they can have a good season if they get the right players. At the same time, Parker spends a lot of money every day clearing the land to get to the gold. He is putting a lot of money into the project in the hopes of finding a lot of gold. Parker is struggling financially and needs to see results quickly, but the high costs and pressure to find gold are making them feel stressed. Parker takes on a new task when he buys a lot of land to mine. The crew starts working on the ground. After 3 days of hard work, they've come a long way. They know they only have half an hour left to finish the job, though. Parker brings in skilled dozer operator Stefan LaRose and his strong D11 dozer to speed up the process. Parker's money pit stripping business uses this huge machine, which can move 45 yards of dirt at once as its lead machine. The dozer runs into some problems as it tries to dig deeper into the ground. When the machine starts to pull hard, oil starts to spray out of the back. The team keeps working even though things are hard, because they know that fixing big problems with the dozer will take time. All of a sudden, the lead D11 dozer breaks down, which is a big problem. It takes place in the worst place possible, away from the crew and backup trucks. Parker figures out that they need to use a different dozer to get to the broken one. When the team looks at the dozer, they see that one of the cylinders that powers it has broken off. The blade gets stuck deep in the mud, stopping the dozer from moving. To get the dozer back on track, the broken cylinder needs to be fixed. They come up with a plan to use another dozer to lift the ripper off the ground. They are able to free the stuck blade and start the process of getting the D11 back to the main site, even though they only have half the power they had before. Jordan Sands, a mechanic, brings in a new cylinder to fix the dozer that broke. They hope it will work, even though it's from a different type. They swap out the hydraulic lines and cross their fingers, hoping that this will fix the dozer and allow it to work again. The dozer can now be used again because the new cylinder works. The team is glad to be done with their break after 5 hours and is ready to get back to work. They thank everyone who worked together to solve the problem and say they hope things go smoothly from now on. Now that the dozer is back on track, they can keep digging. Parker tells them that they need to make choices quickly to make the most of their limited time. No matter what problems come up, they
is also in Kano attempting to break into uncharted territory. Test holes he digs show possible gold deposits. In general, these gold miners are engaged in some really promising work, and they have some very lofty objectives. Tony Beats and his staff are using a ball with a strainer to separate gold from soil in a new mining operation. They are pleased with the lengthy pump they utilize to speed up the procedure when they find fine gold. Tony is encouraged by this discovery and has discussed growing the firm with his family. Parker Schnabel is pleased with his gold weight, which beat last season's record. Parker will keep mining despite the season's challenges and make the best of it. Parker Schnabel and his colleagues seek to maximize their resources in Alaska to find better soil. Parker calls in his loyal right-hand man, Mitch, to help clear overburden and keep the process running smoothly as they rush to reach 700 ounces of gold. Parker moves as much as feasible with Mitch's help despite machine repairs and a labor shortage. As they overcome challenges, the crew's collaboration and determination shine through. Parker Schnabel and Tony Beets want gold. Parker's crew must collect 700 more ounces to move Big Red to Mud Mountain. After upgrading his gear, Tony is more driven than ever to have his best season. Tony struggles with equipment, while Parker relies on their road expansion to bring him there. Despite the obstacles, they remain driven and confident in their capacity to succeed and profit. He'll make up his gold ounce deficit and protect his off-season investment. Tony is under pressure to supply gold after the buyer for his fleet of barges dropped out at the last minute. This season was the Beets family's most successful for gold production, despite the loss. Tony still hopes to reach 9,000 pounds next year. He also investigates pioneer mining waste. There may be some gold left, and since gold and petrol costs are low, now is an excellent time to look. Tony invites the crew together to learn about the hill and mine's history. After finding a wooden sluice box, they realize that only half of the gold was collected this way. Tony wants to dig into the tailings and find themselves. A sample is tested with a trommel to confirm gold presence. It's free money, so they'll transfer it to New Zealand for processing. Later, he and his loved ones head to Paradise Hill to find out if the old-timers' tailings turned up any riches. Tony needs 177 ounces every week to reach his 3,000-ounce season target. Mega-cut pay dirt processed through Mike's trommel produced 4.22 ounces of gold, worth $7,400. They decide to keep operating the tailings facility after Tony's intuition proved correct. The Premier Wash facility is a high-stakes gamble for Parker Schnabel and his crew because he needs the money to acquire land in Alaska. They had trouble at first due to water leaking, but managed to get the plant stabilized. Before the season is out, they want to have found enough money to stock up on weapons and invest in new territory. When Parker Schnabel's house is threatened by flames, he must deal with a dire situation. He leaves the mining operation to return home and assist his evacuating wife. Now Brennan Rule and Colt Foreman must manage day-to-day business. However, conflicts emerge as Brennan strives to maintain order and discovers poor work from the team. Brennan and Parker make up following a fierce dispute. Despite the difficulties, Parker is resolved to finish the season strong and earn enough money to purchase further mining property. With a final tally of 7,504.9 ounces of gold, the team sets new benchmarks and surpasses their best season ever. Be sure to subscribe for more thrilling updates of treasure hunting. As we near the end of the season, Tony Beets has his own set of problems to solve. He has yet to reach his ideal weight and is out of fertile ground in the mega cut after 400 ounces. When Tony punches a hole in the wall, water rushes in and floods the final nook of the mega cut. Tony hopes to establish a new market known as the upper cut in order to save the rest of the season. However, the ground becomes a soupy mess after heavy rain, which presents challenges for Tony and his crew. Tony is unfazed by the obstacles in his way and insists on continuing his search for rich gold deposits. Another setback for the crew was the destruction of their rock truck. Despite this, they are able to get the problem resolved and go back to work in short order. Tony's time to earn 3,000 ounces of gold this season is quickly running out as winter approaches. After the last load of dirt has been processed by the plant, everyone congregates for the season's final gold weigh-in. They missed their target by a hair, but nevertheless managed to produce 3,030.26 ounces, worth almost $5.6 million. Tony has his sights set on next season, and he's positive that, with the right brakes and a water permit, they can increase their output. You won't believe what researchers just discovered. Click on the next video to find out more now.